and gentlemen, I welcome you all tonight to IDRA Global Conference. And on behalf of IDRA Global and Global Entrepreneurs Association, I would like to welcome our chief guests and guests of honor to be seated on the dais. First, I'd like to invite Princess Isabelle Laforgue of France to be seated on the dais. Thank you. I'd also like to invite Mr. Ravi Sani, former member of Indian Administration Service, member of United Nations, and author of his just released book, Living a Life. And I'd also like to invite Mr. Vijay Singh, the Secretary General of IDRA Global. Next, I'd like to invite Kun Kanok Abiradi, Chairman, Subcommittee on Agro-Business, Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives. Okay, Mr. Dhanuka, please come to the dais, please. Next President of the Indian Thai Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Professor Kriengsak Charanwongsak, PhD, Philosopher, Senior Fellow at Harvard University, former Member Parliament, Thailand. So I'd like to start this seminar on Rising India, celebrating India's G20 presidency, organized by IDRA Global and Global Entrepreneurs Association. IDRA Global, for the past many years, has been involved in the study, growth, and analysis of the Indian economy and the international economies. IDRA Global and Global Entrepreneurs Association is promoting and assisting individuals and organizations internationally in their respective fields and thereby promoting India's national, economic, and social development. India is progressing at a fast pace and the economy is achieving world standards. The country is a world leader in areas such as information technology, agriculture standards, agriculture production, steel production, textile and ready-made garments, diamond and jewelry export, and some other fields. The government of India is introducing extensive economic reforms as per international trade requirements. The Plan Commission has selected certain areas where immediate development is required. This is being monitored personally by the Prime Minister. As a result, there is extensive economic activity and development taking place in the country. IDRA Global and GEA is constantly examining and analyzing the economic activities taking place in the country and internationally. IDRA Global and GEA surveys various sectors of the economy to watch their performance and developments. By doing so, they attempt to assist and analyze various sectors of the economy so that the pace of development is maintained. The India-Thailand economic and commercial relations. Thailand is the largest economy in the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, which is the ASEAN nation. The gross domestic product in Thailand was worth $505.95 billion in 2021. According to the official data from the World Bank, the GDP value of Thailand represents 0.23% of the world economy. India's economic and commercial relations with Thailand are rooted in history, age-old socio-cultural interactions, and extensive people-to-people contacts. India and Thailand have now celebrated 75 years of diplomatic relations in 2022. India's Look East policy since 1993 and Thailand's Look West policy since 1996, which has now metamorphosed into India's Act East and Thailand's Act West, are strongly contributing in consolidating bilateral relations, including economic and commercial linkages. The bilateral trade between India and Thailand reached an all-time high of around USD 15 billion in 2021 till 22. As the domestic market remains attractive for Thai investors, said Union Minister of State for External Affairs Rajkumar Ranjan Singh. The economic cooperation between the two countries in trade, investment, and tourism have continued to flourish during the recent years. In the ASEAN region, Thailand ranks as India's fifth largest trading partner after Singapore, Vietnam, Indonesia, and Malaysia. The growing ties between the two countries have come at a time when the AEC is expected to bring greater integration among member countries, be it in the form of physical connectivity, economic links, cultural and educational ties. The fastest growing Indian market remains attractive for Thai investors, given the vast opportunities available in the infrastructure sector, tourism, and retail industries. India continues to remain an interesting market for export of goods from Thailand. Currently, Thai goods have benefited from tax reduction under ASEAN-India FTA in goods, which came into effect from the 1st of January 2010 and resulted in the flow of more goods into the Indian market. An early harvest scheme, EHS, covering 82 products, now 83, under the proposed India-Thailand FTA, has been in place since September 2004 and has already resulted in phenomenal growth in our bilateral trade. Thai investments are mainly in infrastructure, real estate, food processing sectors, chemicals, hotel, and hospitality sector. I'd like to call Mr. Vinod Sachdeva first to give a few words. Thank you.
Respected dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, all the audience who have come from India, I welcome you wholeheartedly to the land of smiles, Thailand. Thailand has always been like a younger brother to India. Before I go any further, I would like to inform you about my relation with the people sitting here. The General Secretary of Mr. Vijay Singh, he is my school friend, my classmate. And before I go further, I would not like to do the same mistake I did last time. Ravi Sahni ji, the former IAS officer, and recently launched a book, Living a Life. Really been a source of inspiration to all of us. School pals are really very different. Now I'll come to Hindi, because English, all the other speakers will speak in English. मैं अपनी राष्ट्रभाषा हिंदी में आता हूँ. कोई तो होना चाहिए ना जो आपके साथ हिंदी बोले. इससे पहले कि मैं आपको बता दूं कि मैं बिशप कॉटन स्कूल शिमला का पढ़ा हुआ हूँ, तो मैं हिंदी ऐसे कैसे बोलता हूँ. मैंने पहले भी आपको बताया था कि जो हिंदी है मुझे मेरी माँ ने सिखाई थी. तो मैं जब भी कहीं पर बोलता हूँ तो पहला जो नमस्कार है मैं अपनी माँ को करता हूँ, जिनके कारण मैं हिंदी बोलता हूँ, और आज इस काबिल हूँ कि आप सबके सामने बैठा हुआ हिंदी के कुछ शब्द बोल रहा हूँ. अभी हमारे सामने एक और हैं. आई वुड लाइक टू इंट्रोड्यूस टू यू मिस्टर राज वासनिक. राज वासनिक जी इज अ जेंटलमैन आई मेट लास्ट टाइम. I met here only in Rembrandt Hotel, and he is the owner of RW Global. All the coconut juice, I would rather say coconut nectar, which has been served is courtesy of RW Global company only. राज जी को जो परिचय मैं ऐसे देना चाहूँगा, 18 साल से यहाँ पर रहें, नौकरी भी की, लेकिन उसके बाद मेहनत से, लगन से इस मुकाम पर पहुँचे हैं कि हम सबको इन पर गर्व होना चाहिए। लास्ट टाइम भी मैंने कहा था, मैंने एक पंक्तियाँ बोली थी कि लहरों से डरकर नौका पार नहीं होती और कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती। मैंने उस समय राज्य के बारे में ये कहा था कि कोशिश करते करते वो इस मुकाम पर पहुँचे हैं। वो पंक्तियाँ मैं नहीं दोहराऊँगा, लेकिन एक बात जो मेरे हृदय में हमेशा रहती है वो मैं करूँगा कि असफलता एक चुनौती है, इसे स्वीकार करो। असफलता एक चुनौती है, इसे स्वीकार करो। क्या कमी रह गई देखो और सुधार करो। जब तक न सफल हो नींद चैन को त्यागो तुम, संघर्षों का मैदान छोड़ मत भागो तुम। कुछ किए बिना जग में जय जयकार नहीं होती और कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती। ये कोशिश का नतीजा ही है। बाकी आज का जो हमारा विषय है राइजिंग इंडिया, आफ्टर इंडिपेंडेंस इंडिया इज़ ऑलवेज बीन राइजिंग। कहाँ से कहाँ पहुँच गए हम लोग, अगर समीक्षा करके देखें तो इतनी दूर आ गए हैं हम लोग। जहाँ पर हम पहुँचे हैं हमें गर्व होना चाहिए। और आज जो पीक पर हैं कि G20 कंट्रीज से उनके प्रेसिडेंट इस समय इंडिया है, अंडर द लीडरशिप ऑफ आवर प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑनरेबल नरेंद्र मोदी जी। ये सब हमें को मिला। और थाईलैंड में एक अपनी इंट्रोडक्शन में मैं बात आप लोगों को और बता दूं। आई वॉज बॉर्न इन थाईलैंड, 3rd generation. My grandfather came to Thailand. I am a Thai national, proud of it. लेकिन साथ में एक बात और है, हमारी जो रूट्स है ना, रूट्स को नहीं भूलना चाहिए। जो फॉर्म है हम लोगों का, जब हम पासपोर्ट लेने जाते हैं तो फॉर्म भरते हैं थाईलैंड में, मुझे बड़ी अच्छी लगती है वो बात। एक लिखा होता है ना नेशनैलिटी, संचाट कहते हैं थाई में, संचाट थाई लिखते हैं, संचाट थाई। और उसके बाद एक आता है छियाछाट, रूट क्या है, उसमें हम प्राउडली लिखते हैं रूट है इंडिया, भारत। मैं एक बात और आपको बता दूं कि यहाँ पर हमारे एक मंदिर है, श्री देव मंदिर, जिसके पिछले 50 वर्षों से मैं उसके साथ जुड़ा हुआ हूँ। ये हमारे बुजुर्ग थे जो यहाँ पर आए, आके उन्होंने एक बात और आपको मैं अच्छी तरह बता दूँ, कहाँ भी आप पढ़ लीजिए, वॉट एवर वॉज एजुकेशन, वेर एवर यू गो, संस्कार जो होते हैं आपको यूनिवर्सिटी से नहीं मिलते। संस्कार आपको अपने घरों से मिलते हैं, अपने माता पिता से मिलते हैं। ये संस्कार थे हमारे पूर्वज जो हमके दे गए, इतना सुंदर मंदिर। और जो सबसे बड़ी बात है, हमारे लिए बड़े गर्व की बात है, जो राजा थे पिछले राजा रामा द 9th, उनके लिए एक बात मैं और आप बता दूं कि थाईलैंड हमारी जो भारत की सभ्यता है इस कदर रही है कि थाईलैंड हमेशा उनसे प्रभावित रहे हैं। थाईलैंड को जो पिछले राजा थे, आप यकीन कीजिए उनको देवता स्वरूप मानते हैं, देवता कह के उनको पूछते थे। और उनका नाम था संस्कृत में भूमि बल अतुल्य तेज, ये उनका नाम था। और उसके नाम के लायक उन्होंने जो कार्य किए, जो उन्होंने कीर्ति की, आदमी जो है, मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ कि इन लोगों के मरने के दिवस नहीं मनाते, इन लोगों की केवल जयंती मनाते हैं कि ये लोग तो चले जाते हैं लेकिन उनके नाम हमेशा अमर रह जाते हैं हमारे दिलों में। एक बात मैं आपको और बता दूं, ये जो मंदिर है हमारा श्री देव मंदिर, इसका इनॉग्रेशन डे, इसका उद्घाटन जो है हमारे राजा जी इनके हाथों से हुआ था। केवल एक ही मंदिर है जिसका उद्घाटन इन्होंने किया था। मैं एक छोटी सी बात आपको और बताता हूँ। ये जो राजा हैं, जो डायनेस्टी चल रही है 1762 से यह चक्री डायनेस्टी चल रही है थाईलैंड में। थाईलैंड के राजा अपने आप को राम का वंशज कहते हैं। जो आधुनिक हैं वो रामा द 10th, जो नवे राजा थे उनको भगवान की तरह पूजते थे। रामा वंश से शुरू होकर रामा 10 तक हम पहुँचे हैं। और थाईलैंड का और कुछ भी देख लीजिए, इनकी भाषा, इनका रहन सहन, इनका धर्म सब हिंदुओं पर ही आधारित है। और आजकल एक परिवर्तन आपको देखने में मिलेगा बहुत ज़्यादा। अगर आप देखते हैं, पहले जब मैं छोटा था तो मैं भी अपने गले में बुद्धा का एमुलेट पहनता था, तब सब बुद्धिस्ट थे, चारों तरफ और बुद्धिस्ट थे। और आजकल हमें बड़े गर्व से कहना पड़ता है कि हमारे मंदिर में जितने हम लोग होते हैं उतने ही थाई बहन भाई आते हैं हमारे, इतने थाई लोग आते हैं और इतने प्यार से पूजा करते हैं और हिंदू धर्म को इतना बढ़ावा दे रहे हैं। आपने देखा होगा, बैंकॉक में देख लीजिए, जगह जगह पर आप देख लीजिए भगवान गणेश जी की मूर्ति है, हर जगह पर वो बढ़ावा देते हैं और इतने प्यार से पूजा करते हैं कि मैं हमेशा यही कहता हूँ कि एक भारतीय होने पर हमें गर्व है। एक बात और है, हम में से कोई भी राजदूत तो है ही हैं, हम सब जो भी हैं जो जाते हैं सड़क पे चलते हैं, हम भी भारत के ही हैं। मैं तो हमेशा कहता हूँ कि जो भी भारतीय हैं उनकी पहचान क्या है? विश्व में हर भारतीय की बस यही पहचान हो, विश्व में हर भारतीय की बस यही पहचान हो, उनके हृदय में बसा एक छोटा सा हिंदुस्तान हो। ये पहचान है, ये है उनकी पहचान। एक मैं जाते जाते एक बात और आपको बता दूं, मैं बात कर रहा था अपने रूट्स की। रूट्स जो होते हैं हमारे बहुत महत्वपूर्ण होते हैं। इसकी मैं मिसाल एक देता हूं, आपने नाम सुना होगा स्वर्गीय गोपाल दास नीरज जी। कवियों के कवि, इतने महान कवि थे वो कि उनकी रचनाएं पढ़ के आदमी गदगद हो जाता है। उनको पद्म विभूषण मिला था सरकार की ओर से, और वो हमेशा कहते थे जहाँ पर वो पैदा हुए, जन्म लिया जिन्होंने, एक छोटा सा मंदिर था, गोपाल मंदिर। वो कहते हैं कि मैं जब भी गया, उसके बाद मुंबई में गया, बड़े बड़े जगह पे गया, मंदिरों में गया, जहाँ पर भी गया, मगर उसके बाद उन्होंने जहाँ पर भी माथा टेका, हमेशा मंदिर उनके जो जहन में था, उनके दिल में था, वही गोपाल मंदिर था। तो उन्होंने पंक्तियाँ लिखी कि मैं चाहे जहाँ पर माथा टेकूं, मेरा जो ध्यान है वही गोपाल मंदिर होता है। जो पंक्तियाँ उन्होंने लिखी मैं आपके साथ साझा करता हूँ कि हर दर्पण तेरा दर्पण है, हर चितवन तेरी चितवन है, मैं किसी नयन का नीर बनूं, तुझको ही अर्ध चढ़ाता हूँ। हर वीणा तेरी वीणा है, हर वाद्य तेरा ही वाद्य है, मैं किसी भवन को नमन करूं, तुझको ही शीश झुकाता हूँ। गोपाल दास नीरज जी की ये पंक्तियाँ, मैं जाते जाते, ये समय किसी और बात का है, लेकिन मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ, मैं अवश्य आज करूँगा, मैंने पहले भी कहा था, मैं हमेशा अपनी माँ को याद करता हूँ जिन्होंने मुझे हिंदी पढ़ाई, ये कह के कि थाई तो मैं अपने मित्रों के साथ बोलने लगूँगा, अंग्रेज़ी मैं स्कूल से सीख जाऊँगा, हिंदी जो राष्ट्रभाषा है, हमारी बुनियाद है, वो कौन सिखाएगा? वो उन्होंने सिखाई मुझे। और आज 50 साल से मैं मंदिर में बोल रहा हूँ, और इसी हिंदी के मेरी पहचान ही यही है कि लोग मुझे कहते हैं कि मैं बिशप कॉटन स्कूल शिमला का पढ़ा हुआ हिंदी बोलता हूँ। अंत में मैं आपको यही बताऊँगा कि मैंने अपनी माँ को, विषय कोई और है, लेकिन आप पीछे इसकी भावना देखिए, भावना क्या है। मैं अपनी माँ को कभी श्रद्धांजलि नहीं देता। हमारे हिंदुओं में होता है, श्राद्ध होता है, आपको मालूम ही है। उस समय मैंने कुछ पंक्तियाँ लिखी थी, और मैं स्वामी शरदपुरी जी यहाँ हरिद्वार में था, मैंने पंक्तियाँ बोली थी, और दूसरे दिन मुझे पता लगा कि उन पंक्तियों के कारण उन्होंने जब देखा तो प्रथम पुरस्कार मिला मुझे, आप सब लोगों के आशीर्वाद से, ईश्वर की कृपा से। तो आज पंक्तियों में मैं दोहराना चाहूँगा अपनी माँ को याद करते हुए। बाकी भारत के बारे में, थाईलैंड के बारे में आप बहुत कुछ सुनोगे। ये पंक्तियाँ आप जाते जाते अपने साथ ले जाइए, मुझे याद कीजिएगा जब भी ये पंक्तियाँ सुनेंगी कि दुनिया में कुछ भी हो जाए, माता पिता से बढ़ के नहीं होता। और ये चीज़ हमें तभी समझ आती है जब वो हमारे साथ नहीं होते, हमारे पास नहीं रहते। तो मैं अंत में आपको यही कहता हूँ, मैंने ये पंक्तियाँ जो अपनी माँ के लिए लिखी, जिन्होंने मुझे सिखाया था, स्वीकारता हूँ इस बात को और सबके सामने कहने से नहीं डरता। स्वीकारता हूँ इस बात को और सबके सामने कहने से नहीं डरता। मुझे क्षमा करना माँ, मैं तुम्हारा श्राद्ध नहीं करता। क्या करूँ माँ, मेरी अंतरात्मा को ये बात उचित नहीं लगती। श्राद्ध तो मरे हुओं का करते हैं और तुम मेरे लिए कभी मर नहीं सकती। मैं आंखें बंद करके जब भी चुपचाप बैठ जाता हूँ तो तुम्हें अपने से ही बातें करते हुए पाता हूँ। अंधेरे जब जब घेरे मुझे, तुम रोशनी बन के रास्ता दिखलाती हो, और कभी बीमार पड़ जाऊं तो झट आकर प्यार से मेरा माथा सहलाती हो। तुम्हारे हाथ मेरी उंगलियों में सांस लेते हैं, तुम्हारे हाथ मेरी उंगलियों में सांस लेते हैं, मुझे फिर से जीने का नया एहसास देते हैं। मैं जानता हूँ माँ, ये जुदाई भला तुम भी कैसे सहोगी। मैं जानता हूँ माँ, ये जुदाई भला तुम भी कैसे सहोगी। इसलिए जब तक मैं सांस लेता हूँ तुम मुझ में जीवित रहोगी, तुम मुझ में जीवित रहोगी। बस आज इतना ही, और आप सब लोगों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। आप यहाँ पर आए, हमारे साथ मिस थाईलैंड भी हैं, तो मैं आप एक बार फिर आप सब लोगों का अभिनंदन करता हूँ। ईश्वर करे इसी तरह आप तरक्की करते जाइए और जीवन में आगे बढ़ते जाइए। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you so much, Mr. Vinod Sachdev. That was a beautiful poem. I miss my mom now. Next, I'd like to call Mr. Ravi Sani, the former IAS officer and member of United Nations and author of just released book, Living a Life.
Distinguished guests on the podium, awardees, ladies and gentlemen, let me first congratulate all the awardees. I feel delighted to be in their presence because they, in a sense, they are part of the story that we are discussing today, Rising India. Very often we overlook the small, medium-scale enterprises and their contribution and only think of the big multinationals. I can only say that each of these awardees here deserves to be congratulated, and my best wishes to you for your future success. I hope you will reach new levels of excellence, and in doing so also inspire other enterprises to achieve what you have achieved. The topic is Rising India. It's an interesting topic. It's topical. It's also a complex topic. And the challenge before me is to try and say something about this in the short time that I have. So I will just touch upon some of the more salient features of Rising India and just the broad contours of what my perspective is on this topic. It is a process of transition that India is going through right now. And any such process, you're always confronted with challenges. The biggest challenge today that India and even Thailand is facing is the global macroeconomic environment, which unfortunately has not been positive. Economic growth in most countries has been sluggish, and among those countries, some are the important trading partners of India, and I'm sure also of Thailand. Because of the pressures of inflation, these countries have adopted monetary policies which are restrictive. So it's not a very conducive environment when a country is dependent on external factors. You also have the pandemic, which took a heavy toll on the global economy, and presently we are faced with a situation in Ukraine. It is only today, I think, the IMF indicated that the global growth, economic growth this year is likely to be less than what was predicted earlier on. Apart from the global environment, the other challenge that India really faces is its very heavy dependence on energy imports. India imports more than 82% of its energy needs. And the energy market is very volatile. But you see the government now taking steps to achieve what they call Atam Nirbhar, to make India as self-sufficient as possible. But in the midst of all this sluggish economic growth in the world, India is being looked upon as the fastest growing economy. The present estimates are about 6%. Now, there have to be good reasons for this, that in spite of a negative global environment, macroeconomic environment, India is still being able to register impressive rates of growth. There is the demographic dividend that India has, a population of nearly 1.4 billion people. But more importantly, more than 60% of that population are people under the age of 35. So you have an aspirational India which is moving forward. You have a situation that the GDP growth in India is predicated on mostly on local demand, domestic demand. 2/3 of India's GDP growth is really predicated on domestic demand. And of course, government expenditure, public expenditure. It is encouraging that government has now increased government expenditure in a large manner, which will increase, in turn, become a multiplier effect on the growth of the economy. And domestic demand will certainly generate more growth in the country. 10 years ago, India was the 10th largest economy. Today, India is the 5th largest economy. And it is expected, it is ready to, in a few years, to become the 4th largest economy. So you have a growth trajectory which is indeed very, very impressive. This is also caused by the great emphasis on infrastructure development in India, which has not been seen before. The scale, the quality of it, cutting across all sectors, whether it is the highways, the ports, the airports, the transport systems, all these contribute towards economic growth. And there's a tremendous amount of emphasis today in India to build infrastructure which is of global standards. This has also created a situation in India where India economy has become very attractive to foreign countries. You can judge this by the inflow of foreign direct investment into India. In the year 2021-2022, the inflow of foreign direct investment in India was about $85 billion. Now, this is indicative of the kind of trust or the confidence that the global economy has on the Indian economy. And equally important is the fact that the inflow of foreign investment into India has not come from just a few countries. It's come from a wide range of countries across the globe, including Thailand. It's also important that the foreign direct investment is not into just a few sectors. Also, although there are some main sectors like electronics or computers and service industry, but it is spread across a wide range of sectors in the economy. It's also important that the foreign direct investment flows are not just limited to the metropolitan areas of India. They are spread right across the Indian economy. So you have a situation where a global confidence is also generating economic activity in India. What is also very remarkable is the digital revolution that's taken place in India. It was in 2015 that India launched the Digital India campaign. And in this time, India today is the largest digital data consumer in the world, larger than USA and China combined. In India, they've set up, not recently, a few years ago, about 475 million bank accounts of people in the rural areas. And money is transferred to these bank accounts through digital payment directly. The scale is mind-boggling. In the world, 60% of resourcing is done from India for the digital services. And it is expected that in this year, India will export about $200 billion software. So in a short time, the Digital India campaign India has become one of the biggest global powers as a digital economy, as a knowledge-based economy. You look at the unicorns that have come up in India. India is the third largest number of unicorns in India. It is second in terms of the startups. Finally, if you look at the geopolitical situation, it is aligned to the topic of rising India. Historically, post-independence, India followed a policy of non-alignment. It was non-aligned because it maintained an equal distance from the superpowers. It was the Soviet Union and it was Russia and America. But today, India no longer maintains a policy of non-alignment. It's following a policy of multi-alignment. India is a member of BRICS, which includes China and Russia. India is a member of Quad, which includes America, Japan, and Australia. And it maintains these relationships with these organizations independently. So it's being able to pursue a much more independent policy, which is more pro in the country. And now India is the president of G20. So it is setting the global agenda for the future. And I'm sure that at the end of the year, when India's presidency is concluded, India will emerge even as a stronger global power. It would also be not just a soft power, it would also emerge as a global player and a hard power. So on this optimistic note, I thank you all for inviting me and for you all for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, I'd like to invite Princess Isabelle Laforgue to give us a speech, the Princess of France and CEO of Isabelle International Design. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to congratulate the organizer of the Asian Pacific Award, Bangkok 2023, and his accompanying business seminar. Your efforts are truly laudable as you bring together the two noble, beautiful, progressive countries of Thailand and India. These two nationalities are unique for their respective culture, yet they share the key values of love for peace, respect for nature, spirituality, and capability for enterprise. It is along those commonalities that both countries continue to achieve economic growth. I might make a special mention of India, though one of that is rising as its people continue to engage in commerce. The theme of 2023 award, which is Rising India, confirmed the objective of Indians all over the world of committing themselves to the task of development through clean, honest, and nature-anchored enterprise. I consider it an honor to be given the privilege of wishing you well tonight. This gathering even become more meaningful as all nations of the world are engaged in reviving their economy after the pandemic. As India rises back from the problem brought about by the recent worldwide economic, medical, and social turmoil, it has the fortunate advantage of having a people that is wise, goal-oriented, respectful of their environment, and talented. Such great talent are the number one asset of India. As tonight, the gifted people of both countries, India and Thailand, share in the honor of glory of Asia Pacific Award, whose recipients deserve our sincere congratulations. I wish you well, and I'm one with you, hoping and praying in committing and acting toward a better world where people live in peace and with great abundance. Again, congratulations to the awardees, the organizer, and tonight the guests. I wish you well and may peace reign in your heart. God bless you all for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Princess, for your speech. Next, I'd like to call Kun Kanok Abiradi, the Chairman, Subcommittee on Agro-Business Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperative, to give us a speech, please. Thank you.
Mr. Vijay Singh, Mr. Vinod Sakdeva, Princess Isabel Laforgue, thanks for inviting me to this very important event. I'm from a completely private sector, non-political alliance. As a professional executive in Thailand, spending over 50 years, now you can guess how old I am, working in varieties of industry, ranging from aviation, whereby I was the president of Thai Airways International, setting up small, medium enterprises development bank as a founder and the first president, and also president of varieties of companies ranging from medical supply, automotive industry, consumer products, beverages, publishing, telecommunications, automations, engineering, and many others. The reason I'm saying all this because at least if our friends here would like to allow me to become the bridge in cooperation with Princess Isabel, I could offer myself a special service to make sure that Thailand and India's collaboration will grow. Rising India is a dynamic process. It takes entrepreneurs like your good self and strong government. For the past 75 years after your independence, India has come a long way from 4,000 years civilization, 200 years of colonization, 70 years of seemingly quiet period. But to be very fair, for the first many governments that you had, doing all the restructuring, reforming, and all that, obviously, India hasn't played a very big part in the global stage as yet because it's a totally different situation. Today, the rising of India signifies the performance of your government in the global stage. When the External Affairs Minister of your government, Mr. Jai Shankar, who has been so frequently on the social media, has contributed to the, I would say, the sparking of rising India because of his bold courage, straightforwardness, and the stand that he represents India in certain occasions very fiercely, but in many occasions very politely, and a humble diplomat who has been serving India for the past 30-some years. This has positioned or helped position India on a global stage. His qualification has been completed after attending or working as a diplomat for the United States in Washington, D.C., and also in China. But I think his completion of his qualification needs to be addressed that when he is married to a graceful Japanese wife, Mrs. Kyoko, I think he has completed his qualification as the External Affairs Minister of India at this point in time. But through the selection, a keen selection of His Excellency Modi, both of whom have played very important part representing India. A lot of people talked about India's vision and also expectation to be joining UN Security Council, of which I believe after a few years from now, India will be invited to take a seat in UNSC. And on that day, we as Easterners will together celebrate. Challenges for India is abundant, obviously. But none of the challenges to me as an outsider is not as important as a challenge from a very powerful man of whom could be considered a little bit dreadful, a little bit fearful, that is Mr. George Soros. When he said, I presume that he said, because I haven't heard from him myself, but when he said that India is a democracy, but Mr. Modi is not a Democrat, that hurts me. It hurts me. But this powerful person, of whom I must respect, because he's the one who broke Bank of England, and he broke Thailand financially. We collapsed, and many good companies had been bought by third mega countries. He collapsed Malaysia, and he collapsed Russia. And many attempts were made to also try to get the feel of getting China feeling a little bit itchy for a few times. So when Mr. Soros, I hope he didn't mention it himself, but I heard of it, made that remark, it is something that we all, we mean you, because we had already gone through it already, okay? We came back strong. I hope you have got to be serious and take his remark, if he did make that remark, very seriously. Because he is one of the very few persons who make forward predictions on what he would do. Professor Kruger, a very famous academic, said that Mr. Soros will do it for fun and profit. For profit, that is okay, but fun, okay, when a lot of people suffered, is not really to my liking. Considering lots of pain points that India has, I would say nothing, could be compared as serious as this powerful man's remark. Let's take China and India's dispute, disruptions, conflicts, whatever you call. Comparing to this remark from this very powerful man, it made the disruption, conflicts, confrontations, whatever you call, a very minor problem. Thailand has gone through the kind of border conflicts from the south all the way to the north of Thailand. In the south, we had conflicts because of mapping experts. I don't know who that person was, but who mapped the border in such a way that we would continually, eternally face conflicts. Also in the north, whereby we face also similar problem with Myanmar. Thailand has taken a very bold step, of which if my friend Kun Saathit would allow me to elaborate a little bit about Thailand's resolution towards our border problems. Thailand came up with a very smart solution, telling Malaysia that, okay, look, if we continue fighting, it would last eternally. Let's try to do something together. Let's co-invest in a project. And Thailand came up with a proposal to Malaysia that we turn that border areas into a joint economic program, investing in natural gas, whereby Malaysia and Thailand split 50-50. That solves all the problem. That made the tension becomes near zero. It will remain, but near zero. So the economic program jointly developed between Thailand and Myanmar has become a priority. Okay? And most of the time we forgot that we have border dispute committee. Okay? So that is one solution that Thailand has taken. I wish I could share it with our friends here. Okay, since you are here. Up in Myanmar is a much bigger problem because the border conflict is vast and broad. Thailand has offered Myanmar that instead of fighting, we change this war zone into trade and economic zone, shall we? And that has attracted the Myanmar's government in the old days, though it hasn't materialized so much. But then it has reduced the tension between Thailand and Myanmar to a near zero level once again. So I do hope that things that we have gone through, things that we have initiated, so I represent the kind of sharing between Thailand and India, that China and India's conflict is actually a minor problem. And that can be solved if instead of having battle going on, instead of having tanks and armored vehicles, then we might as well change that into agricultural machineries and heavy equipment together so that less pain points will be confronted with your government. Let's imagine that today, instead of China being number 2, and India were number 2, then I think that we have got to be facing many more accusations, criticisms, and challenges, and whatever that you can name, not only from the media, but from rhetorics, from political leaders, and so on and so forth. Luckily, I said luckily, India is number 5. Okay, but if today you were number 2, then China will be sitting there very happy because India will take the place of being blamed left and right and so on and so forth. But this is our political game. So let's not talk too much about politics. I would like to offer myself as a bridge, like I said, in conjunction with Princess Isabel Furok, my dearest friend, that Thailand look upon India as a friend, real friend. I had my first bite of India when I was 17 years old, leaving Thailand for England. The first meal that I had was lamb curry in the basement of Indian embassy, taken by my uncle. And you know what he said? He said, look, if one day your dad, of whom he sent 5 of us abroad, so it's a heavy burden. If one day your dad could not afford, to really take good care of you, you can always go to Indian embassy in the basement. You pay only £1, okay? And you can eat as much as you want. That is for your own survival. So that is the first encounter with Indian culture. Lamb curry, something that I didn't know how to expect, but I learned to like it so much that from time to time I've got to take my sons and daughter-in-law to an Indian restaurant and masala lamb curry. So, welcome to Thailand. Rising India is something that I like very much as an Easterner. I do hope that we could maintain within the continent of Asia peace and prosperity. And my respect for the good deeds of your government in the world stage, something that the whole world has to reckon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kun Kanok Abiradi. Next, I'd like to call Professor Kriengsak Charan Wongsak for his speech, chief guest, and the former Member of Parliament and Senior Fellow Harvard University Professor.
Mr. Vijay Singh, all my good friends on stage, Kun Kanok Apiradi, Mr. Vinod Chakdev, Satish, my good friend who's sitting back there. He's supposed to be on the stage, Satish Segal, Ravi Soni, Princess Isabelle, Mr. Mittal. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say how much I appreciate for you inviting me for 2 years consecutively. Usually, when they invite you for the first time, if they don't like you, they will make it the last time. I do appreciate the message that comes strong and clear that I must be loved by Indians a lot, as well as you do know I love India. And the reason is very simple. I have a lot to do with India. Imagine, on the personal front, my youngest son was sent at the youngest age to one particular country, which I can choose from around the whole world. But I sent him to India. And if you send your own son to India, it means a lot. That means you have that trust in what India can deliver. I have a lot to do with India in my life. Many of you have known that. When I was in government, at the government house as advisor to Prime Minister, I advocate something new and strange that we did not know at that time, that we should link up strongly, officially with India. And it come to fruition when we appoint some key significant linkage that bring about India-Thailand relationship subsequently. When I was in Parliament, we have deliberated many issues. And one of the key things that I remember fondly is a time when we think about the relationship with India. How can we move forward so that we could be able to enhance this strong relationship we already had? When I was in business, I ran as chairman in our own territory, your airline. When you were flying here, one of your airline, we were working together with you. I'm good friends and hold shares with your television station called ZTV, and also many other business that we get involved. In the academic arena, I have visited all your great universities all over India. I've spoken in University of Calcutta, University of Bombay, University of Delhi, Pune, and many more universities all over India. I can go on and on. I have traveled all over India, seeing the whole country by my own eyes, from the extreme north to the extreme south, to the west, and to the east. Been into India so many times, I've mentioned to you more than 62 times. Therefore, what I'm going to say today is not someone who don't know India. I can go on and on to tell you that I do know India. But I just want to say, as a way to introduce the topic of rising India, in my opinion, India has 9 key strengths that will make India rising and arisen. And I do believe it will happen soon and very soon. It took me 2.5 hours to fight the traffic to be with you this evening. I hope it doesn't take 2.5 decades for India to arisen to where it belongs in the world arena. Why do I say India is so promising? Because I do believe India has thought through many things and done well thus far. The first word of strength that I would like to mention, that in my opinion India really has, and today is accomplished, who have the biggest size of the population in the world. Congratulations. 1.4 billion people and still budding. You and China now has 2.8 billion. If you plus 700 million of ASEAN, you will have 3.5 billion people. That is the most powerful group of people that moving through the whole world today. And India has the largest strength of population, the biggest size, and it will continue. How do I know that? Because China already slowing down in the size of population. You are still growing. And therefore, soon and very soon, you'll be obviously the biggest number of people on earth. And size matters. I used to remember this well because when I was in US, when I was 16 years old, there's a lady, the American, wear a t-shirt. In front of her, it says, size matters. And I look, I think, yes, it does matter. And therefore, if population size matters, surely a lot of things will come with the size. You have young workforce. 40% at least of your population is very young people under the age of 25. Therefore, they are productive people that will bring about a lot of GDP in the future. You have a small size of more than 65 years old. A lot of us sitting here, including myself, we are beyond those age. We are people who are not productive, but the young people, the young Indians, are productive people that will bring about tremendous economic activities. Hence, I see the promising strength of the rising India, the powerful young workforce that really can do wonder. The second word that I would like to say why I believe the rising India is the truth, that it will come to pass to be the recent India, is not only the size of population, but is the economy of India. When I'm an economist, by the way, if I don't sound like one. We usually say, is the economy stupid? Usually when you change government, it's because the economy is very bad. Finland just changed the government because of the economy. And many more governments will be changed because of economy. It's always the economy that changes government usually. Why do I say Indian strength is economy? Look at it. The size of your GDP. We hear so much from my esteemed friend, Ravi, who mentioned about you're number 5. I hate to tell you that you're not going to be number 5 for too long. You're number 4. You're going to be number 3 soon and very soon. In fact, I have calculated, but I don't want to tell you, that if you continue to grow at the rate that you're growing, you'll be number 3 in terms of economy size in the world soon and very soon. And who knows what's happened next after number 3. China will be number 1. US will be number 2 while you're number 3. And I suspect you will overgrow US in due time. Therefore, the size matters of your economy, but the fastness of your growth is phenomenal, unusual. It's growing leaps and bounds. And this GDP per head, the richness of your middle class is undeniable. The size of your middle class is beyond the entire population of the US. And therefore, how can I not think that India will rise up? soon and very soon. Your economy says so, in my opinion. Projection can be drawn. It doesn't matter, but I can tell you without being a fortune teller, you'll get there. India will arisen because of your economy. My third words why I think India will be arisen is influence. Don't you think India are influential enough to be in every single bodies in the world that matter in terms of influence? I used to sit on board of non-aligned movement council years ago when Dr. Mahathir Mohamad still active in the first period of his prime ministership way back in his early days. I was in this council of 7 members. And India was instrumental in non-aligned movement. But now you move beyond non-aligned movement to multi-alignment movement. And still India is still there. G20, you're still there. Shanghai Cooperation Organization, you are there. By the way, Indo-Pacific, when the US is trying to do something because of hiccup due to TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership, that US opt out and become TPP-CP, and then eventually US want to contain China. They have no other way but create Indo-Pacific. And what does Indo-Pacific mean? It means India in the forefront. That means US have regards for India. India are in everything I could conceivably think about. The Quad. Look at the Quad in the geopolitics. The US, Australia, Japan, India. You are in just about everything. And therefore I say, you're not being pushed out, you're being pulled in to everything that matters, influential in the entire world. Therefore I say, India is rising due to its strength of influence. My fourth word would be clear: technology. Your strength is very clear. It's very difficult to find a developing economies that have tremendous capability technology-wise. And you have shown so over the last many decades. Every front of technology you have, even including space technology, let alone the most promising of the present day IT. I was visiting your mega capital of IT, Bangalore, recently, bringing a huge group of people to touch base and get familiar with your people in the various giants or ITs there. Unusual for the whole world to allow you to be the capital of software, where everyone needs a service to create software services. A good friend of mine had just started a very powerful instruments that would become world-renowned very soon. He has to engage India to do all this software. Everything that is circulating around engineering, software, is well recognized. Your IIT, your Indian Institute of Technology, which I'm frequently have visited, is on par with MIT of US. Produce the best brains, the best capable people. Therefore, science and technology you've done are incredible. Recently, one of the company I'm chairman of, we just import the innovation that come from India, come from the some of you are very powerful PhD holders who create something that phenomenally, when people understand, would think that no one can match. When you dye your hair in the present day, mostly a chemical. L'Oreal probably is the most well-known in the world, but do you realize that India is the only brand that able to create organic and true organic, not like people who say organic yet with some substance still chemical based, have to be putting in. But this one is purely organic. We become very acquainted with this brand called Indus Valley. Some of you may have used it. It's number 2 in the whole Europe and probably number 1 in India. We are your representative of Indus Valley, proudly, because for the health of well-being of the people who use it. India are powerful in biotechnology, powerful in nanotechnology, powerful in stem cell, powerful in so many things. Therefore, I don't have to come and congratulate you. You should know better than me how powerful your technology is in India, and I don't think you're going to be left behind. You are moving ahead. That's my 4th word of strength, why I believe India will arisen. Technology. My 5th word that I would like to mention is communication. You have English as your language that unite the whole India together due to the historical legacy where the British unwittingly allow you to be very best English communicator. If I can put it this way, I never read an essay better written than anyone else in the world than the Indians when it's written in English. Your English is better than the Englishman. You want to hear some powerful rhetoric that come? It's Indian English. Your English is a plus. You communicate with the entire world. And therefore, we envy you. Therefore, you can talk to the whole world when you are risen. We can't. We only speak Thai. We don't speak English. Therefore, we can't talk to the whole world. We can talk to limited number of people. You are powerful because English language is a second in the whole history of mankind where it's an international language. And therefore, you have the future. And in the next many decades, English is still the international language. And I can see you understand me when I'm speaking. If I talk to a Thai audience, they'll be just pretending they understand me, but they don't know what I'm talking about. You have the language. That's the 5th word. The 6th word I would like to say is your intellect. Why do I say so? You know, I'm good friends with Amartya Sen, your Nobel Prize winner. We were together at Harvard. His wife was there. He was in England. We are from Oxbridge. I was educated in Oxford and Cambridge and Harvard. And I was teaching at Oxford and Harvard. And there I have the fortune of interacting with Amartya Sen at the same time when he's at Harvard University. I always put his picture up when I lecture as the supreme intellect. Honestly, Indians are very smart. I don't know why you're so smart. What did you eat? Is it masala, lamb curry? If it's so, give it to me tonight. I need a little bit more brain. The Indians are intellectual. And Amartya Sen wrote a book called The Argumentative Indian. Man, this is unusual. Asians don't argue. The only exception is Indian. They can argue a long time. And they can come up with every reason under the sun why they are correct. And therefore you give in. Intellectually, you are amazing. I have read a lot of Indian antiquities. You have a lot of sage. You produce a lot of sage. And also, your civilization is 5,000 years old. Sorry, we borrow your civilization to be of our own. Therefore, I am admiring you that your intellectual capacity will bring you a lot somewhere. Because we are human beings, we are better than animals. Intellect matters. And therefore, with Indian can do all this, why not? Let me quickly go to the next word. Your capability of management is clear. Why do I believe that? A country of this size, if you don't, and they all have their own opinions, you have 2 Indians, you have 3 opinions. How could you manage people with diversity of every kind and able to get them together and moving along together as a country like this? Congratulations, Mr. Modi. You're doing very well. And not only Modi, actually. The Indians that do not have a chance in India, so they are pushed out to become great in the world without them knowing. Look at all the CEOs in all the big companies in Silicon Valley. I sit at Silicon Valley for years in Palo Alto, where all the budding companies come forward. Let me tell you, the Indians are controlling every big companies everywhere, left, right, center, front. And now they're getting a little bit more aggressive. They even control 10 Downing Street. My goodness, unbelievable. And my good friends are working with him in 10 Downing Street. And before the election, when Liz Truss became Prime Minister, competing with Sunak, they were saying that, the British are not quite ready to have an Indian descended Prime Minister. Impossible. Okay, I was in England long enough to know it's maybe sort of true. But you must be superb to be able to break through the ceiling and come forward like Sunak. Congratulations. He's not bad actually. He come from my university. There. And the greatest asset, he married to some powerful lady. That is also true, isn't it, madam? Therefore, you have the great capable management capability to manage the economy, manage the society, manage the government, manage the companies. And that's important to get things going. My next word would be culture. The Indian culture are really moving across the whole globe and influencing the whole world. When I go to India, they ask me to buy essential oil. I say, for what? Massage. Ayurveda. Your yoga is everywhere now. You control all the fitness places now. Everything culturally is happening. Bollywood is everywhere. Honestly, this is only kind of movie around the world that the hero and the heroine running around the trees, and people enjoy watching them running around the trees. I still cannot find the explanation why they run around the trees all the time. Bollywood is everywhere, very powerful. And frankly speaking, your women are beautiful. When I was chairman in selecting some beauty pageant internationally, I have to judge between the Russian, the Indians, the Filipino, the Thais, the the Malaysian, the whoever, everywhere around the world. I was casting the vote on the Indian lady to become the number one Miss something international. I was in so many, I forgot. And to honestly, beauty is culture. And you can sell. All the beautiful women usually have some Indian look, isn't it? So you can use that as a cultural plus soft power. So many things I can go on and on. Your street food and your food in the hotels, they're all nice. I used to tell you that I used to hate Indian food the first time I tasted it. It's very strange, but after a few times, I become addicted. I crave for it sometimes. So Rembrandt is my frequent place because the owner here and me are good friends. So I want to come here because your food are excellent. I can go on and on. Culturally, it's important to rise. Remember, the US culture has conquered and invade the world with their Hollywood, with their US culture everywhere. Therefore, you have culture as your strength. Let me give you my final word quickly. Peace. You know, Indian has this tradition of peace loving. And this is very important for the recent India. Years ago, I was in China, and there was a big conference, and China was still growing under Deng Xiaoping. The West were wondering, the rise of China, would it be peaceful? That was a big question mark. Would it be peaceful? But I have never heard the rise of India, whether it will be peaceful or not. This topic is never been talked about because in your culture, it's always you are peace-loving people. Everything is okay. Okay. Have you been everywhere in India? Everything is okay. And it's always okay. Let me tell you, with these 9 reasons, in my opinion, I can go on if you want to hear another whole night. I believe that India is rising. And if India is rising, you must act before it happens so that you won't look out of place. It's your destiny. India will get there. But I have to quickly tell you, if you get there without Thailand, it will not be as beautiful as having Thailand coming along as your little brother, as somebody said. We were very connected with India for centuries. A lot of good Indians who are here became Thai from generation. Look at my friend Satish. He is totally Thai. You have the advantage and the strength of connecting with Thailand. The Indians in Thailand are very powerful. Not only they are good looking, but they're also very rich. And that's usually what ladies look for, right? Let me tell you honestly, somebody say this is a land of smile. You are the land of strength. Between strength and smile, is it a dichotomy, mutually exclusive, or it's something that you can go together? When you confront an aggressor, there's 2 ways you can go about it. 1, you tell them that I'm muscular, I have strength. Fight with me, I'll beat you up. India can say that eventually because you're going to be very powerful. And when you are risen, you'll be very powerful. You are the land of strength, in my opinion. Thailand is a land of smile. Because we are tiny and we are small, we don't want to fight too much. We can't beat up people, so we smile. And when an aggressor come along, meeting a guy who say, if you don't stop, I'll beat you up with strength. And he come to another guy and say, you come aggressively, I smile at you. Who will win? Smile will win. Therefore, please take Thailand along with you and work together with Thailand. If there is a place in the entire globe that you need to work closely together, let me suggest to you, hopefully, smartly, you work with Thailand is the best. Because we smile all the time. Not only that, but remember, I told you, CIA, China, India, ASEAN. The CIA of today world are the powerful bloc. We are the fastest growing economy in the entire world. If you compete with China, you still will be behind China for many years. But if you take ASEAN along with India, you will be bigger and more powerful than China. And how to get into ASEAN? Look around the 10 nations of ASEAN. Who is the friendliest to you? Who are the closest with affinity, culturally, even our language? My name is Indian. If you can't understand by the meaning, I will tell you at dinner. We are totally influenced and we are together with India. Our language, our food, our culture, our dance, our religion, everything. India and Thailand are the closest brothers. We are the best brothers for you from ASEAN. If you need ASEAN, the gateway is Thailand. Work with Thailand. Keep coming. Keep working with Thailand. Don't be a naughty boy. Don't go by yourself. Work together with us and you will arisen. Rise up, India. You will win.
Thank you so much, Professor. Now I'd like to distribute the awards and I'd like to call the dignitaries to present the awards. First, I'd like to call Mr. Ravi Soni to present the award in front of the stage, please. Okay. Then I'd like to call Princess Isabel Laforgue, Kun Vijay Singh, and Professor Kriangsak Charanwanta. So I'd like to request the awardees to come collect their awards from the left and exit from the right. First, I'd like to call Mr. Muthu Kumar, founder, Moral Hand EP Technologies, Chennai, star performer in e-publishing technology. Muthu Kumar is the founder of the firm Moral Hand EP Technologies and an IT consultant and primarily into providing electronic publishing services to the international market. His core services are data conversion, data capture and processing, creative graphics, web design, and business process outsourcing. He's also an emerging writer and writing towards leadership, social causes, and awareness for the business professionals. Next, I'd like to call Mr. Kovid Thanathakul, Managing Director, Total Innovations Co. Limited and Sanitizer Co. Limited. Business Leadership Excellence is an expert in road safety equipments and glass fiber reinforced polymer and providing innovative products for disinfecting all types of air, water, and soil. Next, I'd like to call Mr. Alexander Dressler, CEO, in between Deutschland GmbH, Germany, leader in print publishing software, in between print publishing software, cultivates creative ease and production of any type of digital or print publications, whether it be catalog, data sheets, or price lists, in a fully or partially automated manner and in a vast variety of output forms and languages. In between consists of different components which are bundled in product lines tailor-made for your needs. Next, I like to call Mr. Tavichai Charansethasin, Research Director, Institute of Future Studies for Development, Bangkok, Research Excellence Award, IFT, a well-known research scholar working on commerce and trade policies for free trade agreements between governments. Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Nivedita Praveen, CTO in between Software Development Co. Private Limited, Goa, Emerging Leader Digital Technology. Nivedita Praveen is a technology leader and CTO at InBetween, a digital publishing company based in Goa. She started her career in the technology industry after graduating with a degree in computer science from Mumbai University and joining Infosys as a system engineer. Over the years, Nivedita has worked in various roles, honing her skills and gaining experience before finally being appointed as the director of InBetween Software Development India in 2013. Next, I'd like to call Ms. Kusama Leela Naritiwat, Director of Design Center, Institute of Future Studies for Development, Bangkok. Design Excellence Award. Kusama has been working on the impact of free trade agreements between Thailand and European Union and its effect on trade, also doing research on Thai youth civic imagination and national development policy. Next, I'd like to call M. Srinivas Shankara Prasad, CEO, Empower MSME Trust, Hyderabad Global Indian of the Year. Mr. M. Srinivas Shankara Prasad, a technocrat and entrepreneur having 30 years of experience in the biotechnology, chemicals, and pharmaceutical industry, has been associated with various multinational institutions till date. The concept of bioplastics from agriculture waste is his brainchild. As recognition of his work in development of green plastics, he had been selected to meet Mr. George W. Bush and then the President of the United States of America. The Techno Entrepreneur Award by SIL in the year 2010. Thank you so much. Next, I'd like to call Mr. Kanok Abiradi, the Chairman, Subcommittee on Agro-Business Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives, Leadership in Corporate Excellence. Mr. Abiradi is a management consultant, a financial expert, and a motivational speaker. He heads so many businesses, corporations, and government committees. He has been honored by endless organizations, the highlight being personally honored by His Highness the King of Thailand, Bhumipol Athililage. Next, I'd like to call Mr. Senthil Nathan Manekam. Oh, okay. So next, I'd like to call Dr. Virapon, the Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, Business Network Excellence Award, NBBC. Dr. Virapon is an innovative management consultant for various companies, responsible for setting up innovation centers, and identifying necessary talent and recruiting scientists to achieve the company's innovation goals, a project leader in probiotics. Next, I'd like to call Mr. Parag Mitaiwala, Director Business Development, Green Design and Engineering Services Private Limited, Surat. Excellence in Innovative Design. Mr. Parag heads the business development of this leading architecture and design firm which does sustainable and innovative work in Western India. Next, I'd like to call Ms. Pavin Sudha Druin, Miss Universe Thailand 2019, Outstanding Contribution to Social Causes. Ms. Pavin Sudha, after winning the beauty pageant in 2019, has been continuously working for many social causes. Next, I'd like to call Mr. Kasini Salasawat, Proprietor, Kavimani, Bangkok, Emerging Entrepreneur Award. Kasini, a woman entrepreneur who independently has managed to start and run her business very successfully. Next, I'd like to call Mr. Rajendra R. Wasnik, Managing Director of RW Global Co. Limited, Bangkok. Emerging Entrepreneur of the Year, Raj Wasnik, having come from India to set up business in Thailand, in a very short while, he has established himself and his brand of Yo-Yo coconut water, not only in Thailand but also in Cambodia and Vietnam. In the next year, he's also going to the Middle East. And lastly, I'd like to call Mrs. Varanya. So Miss Sheetal Kesri, the Emerging Artist of the Year, could not make it for the event, so I request Mrs. Varanya Vasnik to accept the award on her behalf, please. Mrs. Sheetal from Mumbai is the upcoming artist, specializing in oil painting with a modern approach. Okay, now I'd like Mr. Vijay Singh to present a memento to our chief guest, Professor Krieng Sak, Charan Wongsak. Okay, thank you very much. Now I'd like to kindly invite all the awardees on the stage to take a group photograph, please. All right, thank you so much. Now I'd like to call the next 5 awardees on the stage, please. Are there any awardees left? Okay, thank you everyone very much. Next, I'd like to ask Mr. Vijay Singh, Secretary General, to give us a vote of thanks for tonight.
On behalf of IDRA Global and Global Entrepreneurs Association, I'd like to thank all the dignitaries on the dais who have taken time out to be here with us for this ceremony and who have indeed enlightened our views. I would like to especially thank Mr. Ravi Sehgal, President of India Thai Chamber of Commerce, for his immense help to make this event successful. We have with us Mr. Sushil Dhanuka, the next President of the India Thai Chamber of Commerce. Our congratulations to him. We hope he carries forward the good work of Mr. Ravi Sehgal, who has always been a great help to all who come from India. The most important part of this event are you, the awardees, who have come from different parts of India, Germany, and Thailand to be honored in their respective fields of work. You all have worked hard to be here. You all make your countries proud. Once again, thank you all for coming. Now you're most welcome to have your cocktail and dinner and enjoy your victory.